Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Damien Marie AtHope. In the simplest terms, I am an atheist-humanist philosopher and prehistorical writer-researcher at DamienMarieAtHope.com. I am specifically an axiological atheist. An axiological atheism can be thought to involve ethical and value theory reasoned and moral argument driven apatheism, agnosticism, atheism, antitheism, antireligionism, secularism, and humanism. Axiological atheists can be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. As an axiological atheism's ethically reasoned and constructive pro-humanity. I am an axiological thinker, value theorist. The science of goodness, worthiness, usefulness, valuableness, virtue, reliableness, accuracy, validity, morality, integrity, beneficialness, etc., etc. We axiologists have a value consciousness. And in general, we see the architecture of humanistic humanitarianism value in people that we see as dignity beings. Places and things are not. Axiology is a value theory. In its broadest sense, it involves areas of philosophy that are deemed to encompass some evaluative or evaluation aspect. Therefore, it crosses almost all domains in some way or another. Now for a more detailed terms as to what I am. I am an axiological atheist, an anti-theist, an anti-religionist, secularist, humanist, rationalist, writer, artist, poet, philosopher, advocate, activist with schooling in psychology, sociology, as well as I am an autodidact, self-taught in science, archaeology, anthropology, and philosophy. I promote science and am against pseudoscience, pseudo-history, pseudo-morality, things that are found in religion. I support realism, axiology, of course, liberty, justice, ethics. I am also an anarchist socialist. I support anarchism and socialism, progressivism, liberalism, philosophy, psychology, archaeology, and anthropology, advocating for sexual, gender, child, secular, LGBTQIA+, race, class rights, and equality. So if you can guess from all that, I support or challenge that I have an eclectic variety of videos on a variety of topics. Please take time to check them out, as well as if you enjoy them, please give them a like. And don't forget to subscribe, as new things are on their way all the time for my channel.
Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
good. Good to
Good.
see you. Been a
Yeah,
while.
for sure. Yeah, yeah,
You're on a sabbatical.
yeah. Not so much. Busy all the time.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
Hey, dude, I try to promote you.
yeah. No, I hear. I appreciate that. Actually, that was awesome. Lots of tweets yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I want to, let them know because I was thinking about, our whole thing. So
Yeah, that's cool.
I felt like we hadn't really talked about it, but we're already kind of doing it. But that's relatively normal for me. Like I said, I'm a relationship anarchist, so
Right.
I I don't think in like traditional structures of how you do things. I just start doing. Like people go like, wait to be told to be a leader. I just step in and just start leading. I don't
Yeah.
I don't go, oh hey, someone's not gonna do this. I just go, oh look, there's a need. Okay, then let's go fill that need. I
Yeah, for
always find
sure.
that weird. And a lot of people know. That's why I always try to explain morality And I always try to do it philosophically, but still make it understandable. Because in the real world, to me, a lot of times the meta ethics or the philosophical thinking about thinking related to morality is like this architecture that, in a sense, nobody does. Nobody. What I mean is, nobody, every time they have some moral argument, don't slow down and like critically take it as serious as they do, like say for some exam where there's a test of what's the right moral decision. No, they usually do it fast and full of emotions and very little value structure at all. Just, well, it feels good now.
Yeah. I guess the hope is that we can internalize kind of these processes well enough that comes fast rather than,
Correct. So anyways, I wanted to talk about our show in a sense. I want it to be always something that relates in a sense to anarchism and socialism, sort of. Well, I used to say it like that because I would just say anarchism for me, but
for sure,
I get it that there's people. I told you that actually think that you can add shit like capitalism to anarchism. So, otherwise, I would feel like almost no need to say other shit. Like, of course, it's some socialism, something.
Yeah.
I do get that there are people that actually have that mental error, just like religion. Somehow that they look at nothing to support that, and they go, "That's what I believe."
Right. Yeah, it's very weird, but it happens all the time.
Right. It's too often, so I have to make that distinction. Like I said, otherwise, to me, I would just say a lot of times anarchism.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, to me, a different socialism is where there's difference. That's what I want to really talk about also today.
Sure.
First off, is the concept of like people projecting current entire political schemes onto ancient people.
Okay.
Is not maybe the best thing to try to do, because unless you understand how different cultures think, especially in what people consider like early cultures, you really don't grasp how they would have any political anything. Even if they were doing stuff, it's not like That's like imagine if you're a space person, you come down and you see people bowing before looks like a piece of wood with a human nailed to it with blood dripping, and you would not think this must be the religion of love. You know what I'm saying? And they told you, well, you have to understand, it's this God that won't forgive without that happening. And you're like, and you guys aren't terrified?
I don't understand this.
I'm still wondering, how is this not scarier?
Yeah.
So it goes back to the same thing. We got to, when we look at, the reason I say this, the biggest problem I think that in majority of people have looking past at prehistory is we now have this concept of culture and religion. I think that's an inaccuracy. Before, in a sense, science, culture, religion was the same thing.
Right.
Like when you say someone's a Jew, you really mean that they believe in the Jewish faith, not just they have DNA, but the DNA is connected to the Jewish faith, so you're still saying the same thing.
Right.
You're still classifying a group of people that relates to this origin story of the myth or whatever. So my point is the same thing. Like people will say, like me, that animism, say, originates from Africa, it seems, especially because of the way that all the other religions spread out and then what they did when they did spread out. Different in a sense as the animism looks like to me in Africa where it starts. And I wanted to talk about that too. And I wanted you to also to read a few things of anarchism, what I think, or socialism, in the way that they say. I mean, when you read these ancient people, they don't call it, well, we're now practicing anarchism, or we're practicing communism,
right,
or socialism. That's what I think that the problem is too, is if you ask them, they might not even say they practice religion. They probably just say this is what our people do. They don't probably wouldn't even call it culture. They would go, what's culture? Well, it's what your people tend to believe and do. Okay, that's what we do. I mean, and I'm not saying some might have indigenous people might have, say in Africa, have higher, cosmological or, beliefs. It's possible. But I'm just saying there are ones that seem to have close to nothing, or what it has doesn't seem to be that far off of just looking at reality and kind of trying to figure it out.
Right. Yeah, I've encountered on just online and stuff, the odd person who's speaking from a perspective of indigenous people in North America or Turtle Island, and they say I don't really adhere to your left-right political spectrum. I'm not really part of this. That seems like a colonizer mentality to them, and I'm like, okay, I think I kind of get that, because if you're adhering to your original kind of cultural concepts of there wasn't politics the way we think of it now, right?
Oh,
it was this whole other thing.
I totally agree. But it's also the thing that it also, we need to understand sometimes that our conceptions of things is that primitive.
Right.
I try really not to do that, because
to
me, I think that's just kind of this bigoted crap. Primitive is like a judgment that something is unless you just mean the beginning. Now, I do talk about origins in a sense. I'll say that begins in animism or something. I'm talking about origins, not like a judgment that somehow animism is less than Christian or whatever nonsense that other people do. I just mean this is what looks like comes first. Now, I've tried to explain to people, to me, everyone has animism plus a whole bunch of other things.
Right.
Then they call that Christian. So, because animism, in a sense, is the belief that there's this spirits to things, and it's a belief, in a sense, nature's alive or somehow working in harmony or whatever. That's all animist thinking, and things like the supernatural in general. Just the whole thought that things are beyond what is perceived and are somehow still have agency and mind and power and whatever. You get my point. So something beyond reality, that's very animistic. So once you understand it, because sometimes people will say, well, animist means spirit. I'm like, yeah. Or it means breath, right? But both of those in the context of an animist would be your life. Because if you stop breath, you stop life. So you stop the spirit, in a sense. So, but I was saying, so when they say breath or something, it also is, understand, even the word animist isn't say an Anglo word or Caucasian word or a Western word or whatever. So I'm not saying that people that are even, I would classify as being animist in behavior or thinking or whatever, doesn't mean they would go, oh yeah, Damien, I'm definitely
right. Yeah, they don't identify necessarily that way.
Well, because in some of them I say, well, you also have some gods, and they're like, well, we don't actually think of them as gods, and I'm like, okay,
right.
Anyway. All right, so we're talking semantics, but also I said I want to understand that I'm not trying to offend intentionally.
Right.
Now, I don't mind offending if it's about illogical, but the culture, I'm not trying to attack somebody's culture, indigenous. It's obviously I'm trying to stand because I want to talk about indigenous stuff. So I'm not, and I also don't want to do this thing where we make indigenous people as some kind of a, idol or something we're supposed to worship or some other crap. To me, I'm just saying I want the honest. The honest is that some of the ideas are pretty fucking good. Yep. When you hear them, you yourself will go, those sound pretty fucking good. So, and that's all I'm saying is, instead of starting with either some hero worship of indigenous people, putting them somehow in a position outside of everybody else, which I don't think they belong. They belong with everybody else.
Right.
Equal.
Humans.
Yeah. So, and I also don't think that we should do the exact opposite. Somehow they're primitive and no good and stuff. It's like,
right.
It's to me that either of those actually, to me, the wrong opinion. If we stop looking at borders and things and labels, and like I say, I'm an anti-classist. I don't even try to look at, even like you said, left. I just look at, these are human behaviors. Now, you and me both agree that we can class some of those behaviors as anarchist because of what the, like when some of those cultures I'm going to have you read, they actually say treat children as equal. How the fuck is that not anarchist? What the fuck?
Right.
And treat women, as equal, and some of the way that but there's no one owns another person. They say something like that, or no one has a right over their people. Yeah, it's anarchy. Duh. But I'm just saying is, but they wouldn't say, but I guarantee that it doesn't matter. This reminds me of like a dictionary. There are words for things. You can try. So it's not that there's the thing. It's not that you can't have, I have no problem with having a different interpretation of a word, but that means it is your different interpretation of a word. Its standard means other things.
Right.
So, I think in general communication, it's good to know the standard of things and not try to make it a truth or, esoteric in how you talk. And I always tell the religious people that, but I feel that with anybody, is don't get so you're using so much words. I know how to talk in a lot of, highfalutin philosophy words. But the point is, what is the goal? For me, the goal is I want to help the ordinary people that are, in a sense, don't like philosophy. I don't want just people that want to hear all the architecture of language I can throw on top of reason.
Yeah. It's you want to appeal to everybody, not just people like us who are interested in the subject. Right?
Well, I do think it's important for, let's say, you and us as the servant leaders to actually understand it, because I think that we ourselves should not be somehow not trying to be, as enlightened as possible. But I don't think the general public that doesn't want to devote their whole life, it's like me understanding prehistory. Do you want to devote your whole 10 years to this bullshit? I hate religion. The fact that I even did it, well, actually probably 15 years, but whatever, years and years and years of my life to this crap that I cannot stand just shows the care I have for humanity. Because I realized if I don't do it, it doesn't look like anybody else is going to do it.
Right. Yeah.
And then I even tried to get some friends to get involved. But see, like archaeologists and anthropologists, they're great people. And some of them are atheists. And some of them are anti-religionists or anti-theists or whatever, or even anarchists and socialists. But a lot of them don't say any of those opinions because they don't want to get, have problems. Like other countries, if you go to, say, you're going to go to a dig in Saudi Arabia, where the punishment for atheism can be up to even death or certainly some level of extreme harm. And yet, you want to go there and say that you're an anarchist and an atheist and all these things. An anarchist, against kings in a country with king.
Yeah, right, eh?
Well, I'm just making a comment about how. So it's not that these people don't have thoughts, say, like us, because I've now talked to plenty of them, and in fact have inspired more to think more like us, until LinkedIn decided to remove me, just like Facebook did. Which I just went back and checked Facebook today, and then I saw a new message that has not been there before, and it's basically saying you're gone unless we decide after COVID that you're so okay that maybe we'll let you back on. I'm like, okay, so I'm gone.
Right, eh? Jeez.
I think that just so I'm being just deplatformed, and people like shocked, like, damn, Damien, you? I mean,
right? Where's the outrage?
well, I feel that too. Where's the outrage? How come I keep getting deplatformed and everybody seems to not care? Like, really? Okay. Especially me, dude. I don't tag anybody. I don't even call people on the right's name and stuff.
Right, eh? So, how is that even happening?
Me? Oh, just because I say things that are uncomfortable or true, or I position them in ways that make people feel convicted and think about them.
Yeah. So then they report them, and then
right. Oh, dude, I got kicked off for 3 things that I know of, sort of, because I don't totally know. Sometimes they just kick you off and they say, "Oh, it's something." But the first thing I believe is because I argue with the Christian. Well, he's a Christian, not okay. So he's not some random person. I don't do that. Some people do. I don't randomly hunt down, try to attack believers for believing. Whatever. Now they come on my page, seems like all the time. So why do I have to?
Right.
But I'm an anarchist. I have no problem. People have the right to believe. It's the same like people, indigenous people. They have a right to believe their thing. See, you don't have a right to oppress me, and I don't think you have the right to oppress children. But like I said, if you read when you do read some of how they treat their children, it sounds like they also agree with me that children have also rights. This I think is so weird. They are the first ones, right, religious people, to say about religious freedom. but they never offer that to their children. This equal religious freedom. Or I would say not everybody, but a lot of them certainly don't. My family absolutely didn't. I mean,
right. Yeah. Parents teach their kids their religion and they expect them to follow the rules of their religion.
And to believe. I mean, most of them don't expect you to be an atheist. And if you are, they're going to be shocked, awed, and depressed or angry or, hurt or whatever the hell. My mom was my mom, when she found out, I didn't tell her, right? Because I knew she's fanatical. And I thought I'm probably going to lose my mom the moment that she knows.
Right.
It's extremely religious. And she said something about, I don't know if she said, I'll pray for you or something. And I was like, yeah, whatever, And she's like, are you angry at God? And I'm like, oh, God. No, I'm not angry at God because I don't believe there's a God to be angry at. Oh, that started the shit.
Oops.
And my mom basically was said a couple things. I said a couple things that sort of debunked God, and then she hung up.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't talk to me for another month, and said, "Well, I've realized I'm going to forgive you." And I said, "Oh, don't do me any favors. I've done nothing wrong. How the hell are you going to forgive me? How the hell are you going to love me anyways? As if I've done something wrong."
Exactly.
You either love me, period, or you don't. Don't give me this. She hung up again and didn't talk to me for another month. But all because I had a change of faith. How sickening is that?
Yeah. Freedom of religion.
Her religion. I mean, she acted as if I had absolutely done something immoral.
Yeah.
And also, before we start, I want to show some of the books that I have read on religion, just to show, some of the things. Cruel.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, what I mean is I don't read just Richard Dawkins is what I meant, like some people.
Right. Yeah, a lot of.
See, Oxford, the Oxford Handbook of Religious Violence. Yeah, And look at how thick that son of a bitch is, too.
Right, jeez.
And then here's the religion one. The Archaeology of Ritual and Religion. See, so I've read more. Look how thick it is.
Jeez.
And that's not even the biggest one. Here's one of Turkey, because Turkey is so much importance. I bought an entire book on just what they call it, Ant Nola. But anyways, or you call it different names. But anyways, and this book is not even comfortable to hold. It's so freaking.
No kidding, yeah.
But
jeez.
Just to show you that, and I also have thousands and thousands of other documents online and stuff. But just to show people that when I talk about prehistory and stuff, it's not like I'm just some random person with bullshit ass opinions. The reason why I say is because I wanted to say is that I say that I have a reasoned, speculations from the evidence. Difference than wild speculations from your opinion.
Right.
Do you get the difference? No, not just you, other people. So, and I've had, because I had one atheist, I tried to explain some ideas and why I think it, and he goes, that totally makes sense. That's true. And I'm like, well, it appears true. I mean,
right.
That all I'm trying to show people is that, yes, I agree. In my heart, you're totally right. I'm right. But I also want you to be epistemically careful to go, but feeling like it totally matches the evidence, and we thought the Earth was perfectly round, and then we found out, it's not really perfectly round.
Right.
My point is, I'm just saying is that, so we need to be open to fallibility and improved accuracy. So it's not, let's just say this. It's not like, say, if I said, pottery to me moves from southern China to, Siberia, then from there it moves over to, Europe. That's true. It looks like that. Do I know for a fact that happened? I mean, I see pottery showing up, boom, boom, boom. And I see a DNA of nDNA moving north and then moving, west. So then I would say, well, it's possible that the religion from this area also moved with the people, because the people generally move culture. And also, you have to understand, the original pots a lot of times were very ornate, meaning, at least the ones in China, and the ones that go into Japan also, and become the Zhong culture. But they're very ornate and very religious oriented. So to me, it's not just, you can't, I think it's sacrificial or group feasts or something. Once again, I know it's religious. I know it has to be, because the way it is, and sometimes they put it in barrels or near barrels. So the way they're eating food in just like even, but see, this doesn't start like, say at 4,000 or something, like some people act like religion started. I mean, there's evidence 12,000 years ago in Israel of a shaman burial of female with 72, I think, so don't quote me, 73 or 71, but 70 something. This would be more accurate. It's 70 something, I believe. Turtle shells in her grave.
Okay.
Showing also that it was not eaten. I think that either the way it was arranged, the how it was like placed, they were able to figure out it was like a consecutive amount of time, and that they were like probably eating them and doing stuff. And a lot of that has to do with all kinds of other stuff. So that you have, but once again, you have to understand like the mind. So later, I know that turtle shells in China had like some of the first sacred languages. Like they put these like they would burn with like something into the turtle shell, like burn like little symbols. And the symbols of the turtle shell were seen as somewhat sacred, because if you look at like its thing, I think there's like 12 on the outside or something, 12 like little cubes of its shell, and then so many in the middle or something. But they're like, because the numerology, the thing about religion to me, what you have to understand is, look at the natural world and think it's all magic. You have to like almost do that when you start. And then that also means that things, how they group together, are magical.
Right.
5 and 6. Oh, 6. 7 is important. You know, 3s. I mean, people. But it's to me, it's just this superstitious like mindset that sees the whole world as magical, and that's kind of what animism, I feel, does. It sees the whole world as magical.
Right.
And I also feel like that's why even that's still a problem.
Right. Right.
because it's still, I try to help people understand how I see it. You're still not following reality to get to this belief.
Yeah.
Thus, the belief, which it will evolve, likely, or could evolve, and who's going to say otherwise? Say, well, this is how we believe now, and then this is how we believe now, but this is how we believe now. No connection at all the entire time to reality. That's a dangerous thing, because as you see, animism to me in a sense isn't super dangerous by itself.
Right.
As the religions, in a sense, keep becoming more developed, they start getting more and more rules, because animism is like the pared down version of everything else, in a sense. Not that it's, less than, it's just a certain, because even people, like when they say I'm spiritual, not religious, okay, it sounds like you're just saying I'm an animist now, because you're just
right.
all the other, and now you're still this. Okay. It's, you're not removed.
It just doesn't have the trappings of other organized religions or whatever.
Right. It would be correct to say I'm not part of organized religion, but this is a religious themed idea, or a religious behavior or way of doing stuff or thinking or whatever. Because the thing about the understand is, it's like you have a belief, and then once you have a belief, then you have a desired action. Like, because I believe, right?
Right.
Because I believe that I should be an anarchist, that means I do what? Nothing different? I seem to see everybody.
Right. Yeah. Then what difference does it make that you believe that thing if it doesn't inform your actions?
Like, Damien, you act really nice. Yeah, because I'm an anarchist and I'm an axiologist. You understand I'm an axiologist. I don't understand how most axiologists don't end up socialists and anarchists just as a big, I just don't, and there are some that do, believe me. And in fact, there's one guy that is an atheist also, and a doctor. He is a formal axiologist, and he actually supports Marx and stuff. Anyways.
Okay, interesting.
It's not a surprise to me. Like I said, once you grasp like the this is the thing too. Like, say if someone said support Marx, how I would see that is that I support the ideals of human, flourishing. Really,
Right. Yeah.
right? Not that you have to be somehow that people's misconception of communists is somehow that everybody has to be oppressed and wear the same clothes or some bullshit. Like say Kim Jong-un's, version of,
Right.
of reality or whatever the fuck. To me, I'm just saying that there's all this in between. So it's really weird too, because how many people did Marx himself in a sense shoot or attack or
Like none, right?
right. I mean, so you get what I'm saying. It's a complete fallacy in a sense for me to directly say this equals that, like an illogical jump.
Yeah.
People do it all the time because why fallacies make dumb thinking sound good. Like, well, yeah, you're just blah blah blah. You're like that doesn't make any sense. Or I'm talking to this one guy to explain that. That's the same thing I wanted to explain about prehistory. So a lot of times people will say, like, say Marx. He'll say, so, and I have it in the blogs. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something, and they commented that they feel like there are people that have challenged it's kind of being bigoted, or like perceiving the prehistory people as less than. And so I'd like to correct that right now. Could you read the three cultures? Do you have that available? So to me, like I was saying, is people are already animists. So looking down on animists to me is kind of stupid because you also are an animist. You're just an animist plus something else. An animist plus totemist behaviors, plus shamanistic behaviors. Because if you believe in praying on and healing and all that, I'm sorry, that's shamanism, dude. You're just carrying that shit over. Oh, you baptize people in water? Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
You realized that to do that, you had to see water as some special magical power? Yeah, that sounds very animist to me.
Okay, I think I found them here. You got animist African cultures.
Yes. No, that I see is, and what I mean by animist only cultures in a sense, because totemism to me is basically, to me, I see it starting in Europe, and probably in relation to us interacting with Neanderthals, and we are already, I don't know exactly, but then behavior starts, and also there's a big drop in having sex with family, and to me that and there's other people that already think that also evolutionary psychologists did about 50,000 years ago or so, which I think is about time of totemism behavior, that clans and cultures is kind of a us, them, good, bad, sort of black, white, sacred, profane stuff starts sort of. Because think about this: if I make a figurine, even like, because figurines are 35,000 to 40,000 years old, like even the lion one or whatever. So if I make a figurine, I have turned something, in a sense, into something special. It's no longer just the original item. It's now a unique new item, in a sense, in the mindset. And so when you have that, you can see this in any culture. When you give them something unique and novel, they all want it, in a sense. We're like really stupid monkeys, man. You give us one like shiny thing, I'm like, all fight and kill to get that one little, peanut,
Right.
Golden peanut. Oh wow,
It's slightly different than the regular peanut.
Yeah, the regular one's just not golden.
Yeah, that's
you got to kill for the golden one. But why do we even care if it's gold? I mean, the whole thing is like, what?
Yeah.
Gold, yeah, it's value, right? Because we say it does.
Yep. Not because it's particularly useful to make into anything else, but just because we say it's.
Well, I mean, later for technology maybe, but at the time of its original conception and use, at probably 8,000 or so years ago, no,
not particularly useful.
Nothing. Yeah. So, anyways, you found it, so could go ahead and read them.
Okay, so the first one looks like the Aka people.
Okay.
Central African nomadic, and I am not going to say this correctly, Mbenga, pygmy people, and it says pronunciation Aka. The Aka people are very warm and hospitable. Relationships between men and women are extremely egalitarian. Men and women contribute equally to a household's diet. Either a husband or wife can initiate a divorce. and violence against women is very rare. No cases of rape have been reported. The Aka people are fiercely egalitarian and independent. No individual has the right to force or order another individual to perform an act against his or her will. Aka people have a number of informal methods for maintaining their egalitarianism. First, they practice prestige avoidance. No one draws attention to his or her own abilities. Individuals play down their own achievements.
Stop for a second. Could you imagine if we did just those last two things?
Right?
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
You couldn't even have capitalism.
No, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
If you just had that standard, that's what I was trying to say about people when they don't realize, like, say, an indigenous person, if they have that standard, capitalism is impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because your achievements are downplayed, and that you're supposed to,
you're automatically not competing with your other members of your area.
That is my point. It is set up a mutual system. It's that's like to me the same thing. What I try to get religious people to understand. It's not that I or say Cory am somehow biased against your supernatural beliefs. Rather, your supernatural beliefs are actually against reality, because reality holds a bias that it doesn't have any supernatural beliefs that it expresses anywhere.
Yeah.
In a sense, or supernatural behaviors. Not that I'm trying to say that reality is a thing, because that is an animist way of seeing things.
Right. Yeah. Reality doesn't think.
Yeah. No, I'm just playing on words, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. So after just reading that first one, so who could say that as an anarchist or a socialist, that what was just said is somehow like primitive thinking?
Right. No, it sounds exactly like their philosophy of life is my philosophy of life.
Right? I heard that and I went, yeah. I mean, I don't even have to change anything. Like,
yeah.
Sounds great. In fact, I just found a new way to work on myself.
Yeah.
The prestige avoidance that I didn't even think of that. So thank you. I just learned something beneficial from primitive people that people say. Like I said, so I don't, when I first heard it, I go, see, if I didn't tell you that was from some primitive culture, you'd be like, is that some eco-feminist?
Sure.
Yeah, it's pygmy people from Africa with traditional values. You're like, what?
Yeah. It sounds an awful lot like, you say, like anarcho-feminists or...
Right, totally. How could that not be? That sounds like, that works. Anyways. So it also shows that the people that try to say that our beliefs of anarcho-socialism of some kind can't work or isn't good for society is bullshit.
Yeah, it's against human nature.
Yeah, wrong.
Wrong.
Well, also, I can say, so stop calling these people primitive. These people are radicals. They're not even just progressive, right? They wouldn't just be like mild Democrats or something in America, or say in Canada. I don't know what the thing is, but they wouldn't be some moderate liberal. They sound like full-on revolutionaries, not even like radicals. They're they think like I do. They're like, yeah, society, fuck that bullshit. Here's a whole different way. We all are equal. Let's start with that. Oh, you're great. You're wonderful. Why did you tell me that? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, that's right. Why are you bragging?
Yeah, why Donald Trump could not exist in a world like that?
No, that's right.
I saw another thing that a culture like that did when someone stole.
Oh.
Everyone in the town came and gave them something. Oh my God. Made them stand and take all the gifts and say thank you to each person, and that thank you for being there for me. Thank you for being there for me, or something like that. A person's crying, man, and never wants to steal again. And it wasn't really, but to me, that they're trying to do is show how you're affecting everybody.
Yeah, yeah. and I think that gets to the core, without saying it explicitly. That gets to the core of what I think an anarchist society would do with like crime or criminals. Like, we would try to address the reason that happened, and we would try to, bring that person back into the community in such a way that they wouldn't feel like they needed to steal anymore. So,
well, that's why, to me, I think I've told you before. I don't know if people have understood, but I am against the whole police system and criminal system. All this just horseshit. First off, to me, everything should be about ethics. Everything should be about care. And if it's not about those things, then I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Because I don't believe in somehow this kind of punitive punishment where we're trying to make everybody pay accountable. First off, most of these people, right, like even like serial killers, if serial killers was an innate factor of, say, human nature and not some aberrant behavior, then why is there not the equal number in all cultures?
Right. Yeah.
Done. America's got way its overblown proportion of, but then again, they start with this capitalist mindset. They also start with this thinking of the individual is the most important or the only important thing.
Yeah.
And those, so when you have that, then to me, what happens, you understand, is the value structure, you've now, like what they would say, right? You've put yourself above the whole group.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I was looking up what an anarchist society would do with criminals, right? Because the assumption is that there's still going to be the odd person who is so bad that you can't bring them into the community. And to me, it really presents a really tough question because, like you say, like even serial killers, even what we consider the worst.
I guess some people may think it's tough. I don't think it's tough. To me, once again, like in those cultures, if you are acting out, then you either are somehow removed from the group, which to me, if you're going to be a threat and you cannot function, I think you should be locked away in a mental institution. I think that we should study you. I think that we should be treating you with dignity. I don't care what you've done. Yeah. That is what you did, not what we are doing.
Right. Yeah. I think I guess what I was reading was they said, like, yeah, we would still need prisons for some of the worst, right?
I don't like prisons, though. I'm just making a comment.
Yeah.
Everything is mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it couldn't look like anything like we have now. It would have to be this whole other thing where we like are, we, like you say, treat them with dignity. They have a space to live and work and do whatever they need to do to, be their full selves where they can't hurt somebody else.
Right. And I also think that this thing of, let's say that that person is locked up forever. I don't think that there's anything wrong with the dignity of allowing them to have sex or have conjugal visits or whatever.
Right.
I think our mentality is all wrong. Actually, if you bring more humanity back to the person, this is crazy. This is really crazy. When you bring humanity back to a person, they have the humanity to then not feel removed from humanity.
Yeah.
When I don't feel like I have humanity, you've got me to that base animal level, then I will just kill everything, because I feel disconnected from everything. And I think that our whole mentality is just wrong. We think that we're punishing society by doing this, regardless of the individual. Every time that you do not, in a sense, like you said, help reincorporate them as a functioning, healthy person, you're affecting multiple people. Let's just say they harm no one. They come out, but we've not helped them. Well, all of the family around them is then affected. And then, of course, there's family have friends. Those friends are now affected. And it's all because of this one person, in a sense. You could have multiple people all affected, all feeling this, this tremor of emotions from this event. So it does matter. It's not, people act like somehow we're these islands and everything. That's why I can't stand this thinking that, individualists. I don't understand. You're not an individual. Get over that shit. I mean, what? Get into reality. It's like denying evolution. You are connected.
Yep.
You're just saying I don't want to care about that, or I'm in denial of that. You haven't somehow removed yourself from any responsibility. That's like, to me, like I say, I give dignity to anybody and everybody because we are dignity beings. It is also upon this understanding that helps me hold everyone thus accountable. Because to me, like we say, people go, well, that person's a monster. No. You mean their behavior is monstrous.
Yeah, that's
better. Right. Because they're still a dignity being. And we're saying dignity beings know better, And thus, because you acted to the contrary, you are being monstrous, not very acting like a good, healthy, functioning dignity being.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's just like the same thing. Like people, well, how can like say you or me move to a care that's larger? Because we have. I know I have. I can't speak for you. It seems that way from perceiving of you. But for myself, I know that my care is larger. But to me, axiologically, everything in a sense starts in the individual. All values, all everything, but also your most value, right? You should value yourself. I mean, even other people agree, right? So it's not like I'm saying some crazy thought. You matter. You have value. You own that whole little you that I can't, in a sense, violate. And then we're all a whole bunch of little yous.
Yeah.
And the first thought is that, like I said, that we're separate. That's ridiculous. The second thought is then we're all connected. That's also ridiculous. We're not, in a sense, a group being. We're a group that is all these individuals. And that's why, to me, we have to have more compassion and understanding in how we interact. And there's a lot of people say things I don't understand, I don't like. But it's upon me to try to be more reasoned.
Yeah. 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 Like, yeah. Even in our current system, even if, we can't change it to an anarchist system tomorrow, it still is beneficial to the overall of society for us to recognize our connectedness, as well as like to treat each other as dignity beings, as you say, like
right. But both of those are concepts. That's what I was trying to say is they're both concepts, but both are useful, necessary concepts that aid us like a cliff note. Hey, remember to take care of people. We're, believe it or not, we're kind of selfish. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's just like thinking about like the prison thing, or like even the current way we do things is hurting so many more people than it could be, even if we didn't eliminate everything the way we view it now, right? Like as long as we started acknowledging the number of people affected by, say, people who are being imprisoned, and the system holding them back the way it does, like, I don't know, it's very
I mean, here's like we were saying. So it should be about the minimizing of harm. To me, harm reduction in general is what I believe. We shouldn't be trying to control everything, because that is ridiculous. We can't.
Yeah.
And then you would have to end up with statism as a motherfucker, fascist statism, to actually achieve that anyways. And I would be like, what the fuck?
Right.
No, I'm totally, but I feel like, but it's not that's, why do people think that's important? Here, like you said, go ahead and read some more. These cultures don't have this statism, yet they still get this achieved. So that's why I try to tell people that when they, like with the argument of I'm Antifa, but I do not punch people first. I will fucking punch you. If you fucking hit me, I will lay into you, reasonably. Not like, obviously, if it's a child or something, I'm not gonna, or someone I totally could overpower. I'm not gonna. I try to act ethical.
I think the one thing that I really admire about people who go out and are protesting as, wearing Antifa flags and such, they go out and they stand in between people doing harm and people who would be harmed. You stand in the way, and yes, if violence starts, then you retaliate, right?
Right. Absolutely. That's the only thing. Only thing I say is don't do it first. Don't hit people randomly first. But if someone is doing a threat, absolutely. That's it. The two forms of violence I think are totally acceptable: self-defense and other defense.
Yeah.
If you were defending someone else, hell, fuck yes, that's acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah. You recently had a conversation with a couple of guys, and it started off about the violence thing.
Yeah.
And the one thing I think that the discussion it was more of a debate about when violence is happening. It seemed like where you're saying like when they throw the first punch, then I'll retaliate. and the other guys were saying like, well, when they're saying things, like
Right,
when
correct.
they're talking, then
That's correct.
that's the verbal equivalent of throwing the first punch. So then
Yes.
we can retaliate. So it's like drawing the line in different places, I guess.
Like I said, to me, I explain it and I understand, axiology and how to apply it. I do not try to make my morality upon what appeals to me.
Right.
So, like I was saying before, I would like to do a lot of things, but I know that, that's not a good way to act. So it doesn't even matter to me. Like I'm a strong personality. And I have the mental mind to dominate people at will almost. I don't do either because I don't value it.
Right, because
But if I started to value it, Cory, would that make it good just because I started to value it?
Right, no way.
No.
Yeah.
To me, that's why I feel like the arguments that we have is somehow, we can't figure out morality. So maybe some problems are harder.
Right.
But to act as if there's like no variance at all, we can't even throw a dart towards a side to me, it's disingenuous. Bullshit.
Yeah, we know some things are good and some things are wrong.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. And all of us, when we hear these cultures, if we just didn't say the beginning from Africa or, original indigenous cultures,
right,
doing traditional things, and then we said all the stuff under it, without, you said, or if we said, here's this new anarchist group, but look at what their pledge statement is. And then we read this, you'd be like, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
So go ahead and read some more.
Sure. We've got Mbutu people. The Mbutu people are generally hunter-gatherers who commonly are in the Congo's Ituri forest, have traditionally lived in stateless communities with gift economies and largely egalitarian gender relations. They were a people who had found in the forest something that made life more than just worth living, something that made it, with all its hardships and problems and tragedies, a wonderful thing of joy and happiness and free of care. Pygmies, like the Inuit, minimize discrimination based upon sex and age differences. Adults of all genders make communal decisions at public assemblies. The Mbutu people do not have a state or chiefs or councils.
Right there, like I said, how does that not sound exactly what you and me practically want?
Yep, no, that is almost exactly what I argue for.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And people are like going, "Oh, it's impossible. You guys are afraid." I can't remember the word right now, but like you're like fantasy thinking of what utopia is.
Oh yeah, utopia.
Yeah, you guys are utopians. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm a realityist. Believe me.
I think of a utopian as the best possible world we can create. So,
But what I meant is that I've heard.
Yeah.
Because what I would say utopian is just because it's socialist. Because I've talked to them on the street in when I was in Seattle when I was protesting, capitalist horseshit. And homelessness, really, obviously, big on that because there's tons of homelessness. They're making all kinds of money on weed and shit, and they practically have to throw weed out. And they're fucking here. You got fucking homeless. What the fuck?
Right, eh?
Yeah. How about taxing weed and fucking and the rich? And which I held a sign that said "tax the rich, feed the homeless," or house the homeless, or some shit. I can't remember now. But anyways, I feel both. Feed a man home,
Yep,
shelter
exactly.
Yeah, this is just to me, like I said before. To you, I find it odd because if you're watching some program, right, in America, not say us, but in the general public, it watches some show on Africa and this culture does not take care of their elders, or whatever, it lets people starve. They'd be like, oh, those people are horrid, not civilized like us. And here, capitalism's got tons of people starving in the street, and we have opulence out the ass.
Yeah.
And that's what I find is the most disgusting to me, true, about capitalism. It's not even like the oppression that it's everywhere. It's the extreme opulence glorified at the same time that there's people fucking cannot even eat. I mean, yeah, I find that just disgusting.
Yeah. It's I don't really have much to.
I know you're not going to support it.
I can't add anything to that because it is disgusting. It's just.
But I'm saying, so I mean, like I said, it would be so clear. So we're so biased. It would be so clear because if I would change how we tell things, it somehow makes a difference. If I told you, well, these people in Africa don't take care of the elders and they let children starve.
Right.
Oh my God! Those horrible people. And, oh, really? Yeah, I was talking about capitalism.
When someone gets sick, they just let them die.
Yeah. We're talking about America, but yeah.
Yeah.
Detroit. Yeah.
Well, people do that all the time, right? Like where they'll take a picture of something that's going on in the U.S. right now, and they'll say, "Oh, well, look at how socialist states have failed." And I mean, I'm not a state person, but it's obviously disingenuous, right?
Well, a lot of it is. And to me, it's just intellectual dishonesty, which is what I think we need to have. And I think also we need to have, in a sense, an epistemic humility that, like, because I'm a fallibilist, I know we're going to be wrong. Yeah. So it's better for you to be ready to be wrong and accept it being wrong and move on from being wrong to being right.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Hopefully we can learn.
Well, because, I mean, I'm not special. When I err in something, my first reaction is not open and honesty. Highlighted in error, the first thing to do is defend that. No, it's not an error.
Right. Yeah.
It's an ego thing, man. It's disgusting. Yeah. Because we value we value that which is not really valuable. We have this architecture on top of real value. And it's oppressing real value. Yeah. Just think of all the things, the time that people spend loving a god when they could love like a real human being. Go to a homeless shelter. Go love a real human being. They could use that shit.
I think there's something in that book they like that says something about loving neighbors and whatnot.
Let's go to read another culture that I give you.
Sure. We've got the Hadza people. The Hadza people of Tanzania in East Africa are egalitarian, meaning there are no real status differences between individuals. While the elderly receive slightly more respect within groups of age and sex, all individuals are equal. And compared to strictly stratified societies, women are considered fairly equal. This egalitarianism results in high levels of freedom and self-dependency. When conflict does arise, it may be resolved by one of the parties voluntarily moving to another camp. Ernest Fair and Urs Fischbacher point out that the Hadza people exhibit a considerable amount of altruistic punishment to organize these tribes. The Hadza people live in a communal setting and engage in cooperative child rearing, where many individuals, both related and unrelated, provide high-quality care for children. Having no tribal or governing hierarchy, the Hadza people trace descent bilaterally through paternal and maternal lines, and almost all Hadza people can trace some kin tie to all other Hadza people. I like that.
Right? It just shows the different... And you have to think, the Hadza people, I think, are either or one of the oldest DNA lineages in the world.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I really like that. Like because so many cultures they focus on the paternal line,
or the other one, yeah.
Or like, and this is in Canada. In order to get status as a Native person, they followed your mother's line. But if your mother if your mother married a white person, then you would lose your status under treaty. So it was designed specifically to eliminate any agreements with indigenous peoples, right? So,
or I think that better even than that would be that they're trying to eliminate indigenous.
Yes,
peoples.
Yeah.
You can just finish the whole sentence.
We can just say,
I mean,
get rid of
let's not lie and act like government has not been some sort of an architecture that has supported some serious genocide in the name of advancement.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, 100%. Oh, don't you love Western advanced culture? I go, yeah, we just had to kill genocidal maniacs, to achieve that, but now we're okay.
Yeah, that's right. Except for the fact that we still consistently do. I know what you're. I know you.
I was being sarcastic. I don't. Yeah. I obviously do not think society that we have today in America or anywhere in the United States or anywhere in Canada or anywhere, a lot of these places, period. I want them to sound a lot more like the things you're reading.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying is that someone asked, like, what was the big one thing that you say that you're surprised that you learned studying religion that you wouldn't have thought of before reading religion, all the stuff that I've researched, for the last 10 years. I would say that simply is it, is that it took an atheist to read all the way through the religion to actually find out that the people that were animists and how original culture probably resembled something close to is the actual culture that maybe humanity could be saved by almost.
Right.
This is almost the exact same thing that I'm pushing. And so it was a realization that, holy shit, I support almost these animist culture ideas as maybe like, let's all do that.
Yeah. Yeah. All three of those sounded, fairly similar in some of their values and much better than the society we currently are running.
Right? How could I not go, well, that certainly would be a shit lot better than this crap.
Yeah.
And I think it's odd because everyone wants to act like it can't go that way. But really, you know what it really is the biggest sticking point I see? Property.
Yep.
It's ownership. It's the private ownership. Because somebody privately owns, say, Wyoming or whatever the fuck, and we're not going to give it up.
Yep.
So it's this private, this I own and I can dominate. And this is what's really crazy. Let's just say they did. Okay, and then you die, right? Then you no longer own it because you're fucking dead. They go, oh, now my children own it. How the fuck did that magically happen? I say so. I gave it to them. Really? Yeah, but So you just decided land could be owned, the earth somehow could actually be owned.
Right.
This is a fallacy any fucking ways. You just mean it can be dominated for a position of time. Because that's the real fucking truth. You ever done history? Go look at borders throughout history. Yeah, start like in the Middle East and look at that area, okay, and start like in, medieval times and come all the way to now. You see shit going like freaking...
They were pretty fluid.
What the shit? And people are like, I'm from this and I'm this thing. And you're looking at them going, well, if you really understood religion, culture, history, you wouldn't be so, But anyways, also, it reminds me of our values again. How come when we hear of Rome, where they have slaves and they torture and they kill and they go dominate and they taxed and they fucking whatever, and you just kidnapped, killed, raped, pillaged, whatever, burned, genocided. We all worship that. But somehow these cultures, what values that, how the hell does everyone not want to kind of like be part of that? But we I must say, so we look at prehistory and we go primitive, advanced. Oh, really? You mean the one with all the slavery and the torture, genocide, murder? The one that's all kind and like almost hippie-ish or whatever. These are the bad ones?
It's almost backwards.
No, not almost. That's what I'm trying to say.
It is backwards.
Just look at it clearly. This is backwards, is what I'm saying. If you, and I'm an axiologist, you should look at the facts and value them clearly. Don't say something is when it's not.
Yeah.
There's no way that shit is the same. How the hell can pro-slavery and rape and torture and the domination and devaluing of humans be the same as pro-humans?
Yeah.
Everyone's equal. No, there's just, to me, it's freaking, that's why to me, like, I'm not like a socialist, anarchist, leftist, whatever, you know, because I somehow was like, ooh, that's neato. But if I did, let me tell you what, I don't hold it that way now.
Right.
If someone thought that I did, because now I understand it deeper than an ideology. Like some, you know, it's not a sticker or something.
Yeah.
It means something to me. It's like what you just read. That's what it means, people. When I say on these things, I'm saying I'm looking with values like that everybody matters. How can I be wrong? You're wrong. How can I be wrong? When I'm saying humans have this value, you say you are wrong.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's like, no.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to get it across to people sometimes because of the way that society has indoctrinated everybody into believing that competition is this way, that we have to be, that scarcity, we're all competing for the same resources and we can't share and all this. And so it's hard to get it through to people, but it's an important project.
Well, they start with a couple things. Greed is good. That's not true. Greed is actually a surplus of something, which generally is not good.
Yeah.
No reason for it in a sense. It's actually a negative. And especially to me, if it's done, which it always has to be, or always ends up being, whatever the two, where to have greed, you also have some with none, because that's where the fucking accumulation ends up, obviously, for the greed.
Yeah.
It's not like everyone gets to. It's not like everyone's great and then one's greater. No, it's like one's amazing, everybody's shit.
Yeah. Well, and that's interesting. Like that's the lie that everybody is told constantly over and over again about capitalism is that, oh, we can all thrive, but as long as we let a few thrive a little bit more. But a billionaire class always requires exploitation, and it always ends up with a poorer class of person. And
let's just say we didn't even end capitalism. This is how greedy they are. They're always this. It shows it's always greed. It's always, and I always mean by greed is it's an internal evil of self, an ego, like in a sense, drunkenness, where you're just self-focused. Because if I said, okay, let's not change anything, right? But let's just say, like you said, billionaire. After you reach that first billionaire, all money that goes from you, let's say, becomes, say, is 80% taxed. And all of that helps the absolute bottom. All that money helps the people. So that way there is no, say, homeless or whatever. They would be like, fuck no!
Yeah, we can't do that. That's
You already passed $1 billion, so you're already fucking richer than hell. But no, fuck no.
Yeah.
I'm just saying how greed. When is enough? That's what I was saying. Capitalism fucking lie. It's never enough, and that's why it's an evil too. Because when you get in that mentality, it's never enough. The only way to do that is to harm people. You have to eventually say it is okay to harm people.
Oh, they definitely believe it's okay to harm people, right? It's just a matter of who's getting harmed and who isn't, right?
But that still means some people, it is okay if they get harmed.
Yeah.
You're not, because it's impossible. Like I said, all you have to do is figure out, it's same with I say to anarcho-capitalists, oh, okay, if anarcho-capitalism is true, you must totally be in agreement, though, that all systems prior to your new system should be null and void, right? Not you come in with all your pre-capitalist wealth into this anarcho-capitalism, right?
Right.
King from before, now I'm going to bring up... No, you start at zero, right? Like everybody else.
Yeah. No.
Oh, wait. Well, that's my land. Really? Compared to who? Well, I have a deed. A deed from what? In America? You mean that corporation that's gone? Or what? Well, I have a gun.
Oh, so now we get where
So still, you want to say that violence is the answer when it comes to asking questions about what you really own. Like I was saying to you before, people own in their minds this like countries or fucking planet. It's fucking ridiculous. No, you don't really do that.
Yeah, you don't own land, really.
No, it's this nice burden that we put on other people to accept, but it really isn't a reality. But to me, though, it's actually, people don't realize it's like an unethical thing. Seriously, because I was in California, right? I don't know if I told you before, and I've gone down and helped in Mexico, helped children and stuff. I feel like they're serious in need. How can you not feel for that? They're and people go, oh well, they're in Mexico. Well, for me, living in California, like when I was almost in San Diego, it's only 10 miles of the border. You wanted me to care about 9/11, which was New York, which was 3,000 something miles away, but I can't care about people 10 miles away just because there's a border? The fuck?
Yeah,
kind of
silly
bullshit ass. But see, you see the bigotry? How it's okay. So to me, it reminds me of like the capitalist system. It makes it okay to deny humanity.
Yeah.
I'm a good person. I care about all Americans. That's not Mexican. I don't have to care about them.
Yeah. Pardon me, when you said Americans, you drew a line there, didn't you? Yeah. Nationalism is it's another form of bigotry and
people don't well, Damien, what's wrong with nationalism? I fucking hate it. That's what's wrong with it.
It's
what
bad.
do I think of it? Fucking hate it. I find it to be toxic bullshit. So what do I think about it? Heckin' hate it. And I post memes all the time about it. I would say probably at least once a month I post 4 memes that I have that destroy or attack nationalism. Because it has to be done. I feel like it's just a fucking moral duty.
Yeah.
Because once again, my thinking is a little different than some other socialist anarchists ever. I do like the sort of like undergirding all their values. I try to destroy all that shit so they fall to socialism as the only realized choice. Fuck. Because I've removed all their. Because what I mean by that is people have this, like even religious, they have this big architecture of bullshit mountain that atheists or say an anarchist, socialist, or communist, hey, we have to climb against the capitalists, right? This whole mountain architecture of what I mean is this architecture of like lies. But as you start taking all this down, then they realize they're standing there, you and they're face to face, and now they're face to face with the reality that this architecture was actually not valid.
Yeah. I'm afraid I have to go.
Oh, okay. It's been great.
Yeah, it was a good chat. I really enjoyed this one. Although I enjoy all of them. So,
well, you're a great person to talk to, so I appreciate it. Go ahead. Speaking of which, can you go ahead and plug your stuff? Everybody, we're going to be doing this, show together. Basically, it's the Atheist-Humanist-Leftist Revolutionaries. And we're going to be doing every other Saturday, sort of. There's no guarantee, but it probably.
Generally.
Generally. So that's the best you're going to get, generally. But the thing is that all of this stuff to me is going to be socialist, anarchist related to something else. And I just add atheist, humanist because people understand those terms, not because. To me, almost all anarchists are practically atheists anyways, and I don't know how you would be a communist or a socialist or an anarchist even and kind of not be humanist. So, I guess it depends on how you interpret that word. But
there are battles within our own movements.
but once again, if I were to ask, do you support these values and didn't put the label humanism or whatever? Do you support evidence? Do you support critical thinking rather than dogma? Do you support that humans can solve human problems by human means? Yes.
Yep.
Do you think that we have an ethical responsibility to solve human problems? Yes. That's what I call humanist. I mean, that right there, just that whole thing is like boom, almost. That's it. So I don't see where. But same thing, like I said, if you read those things, and I said these are communists, and then I read those cultures, you would say, oh, I could totally buy that.
Yep.
So that's why I think like it is wrong when some people say like primitive communism or something, or primitive anarchism, because primitive is wrong. Not that it's not related in some way to anarchism or socialism, I believe, in a philosophic way. Yeah. Not that they would, like I said, they may not claim it, but we know philosophical, those behaviors, yeah, they have a grouping of what we call that. Yeah. So, all right.
Cool. I guess the Mind of a Skeptical Leftist is YouTube, podcast players, and yeah, I'm at Skeptical Lefty on the Twitters.
Right on. And I appreciate all the stuff that you do and that you support, good causes.
Well, it seems like a lot of people need help, so gotta keep plugging away.
Right on.
Cool.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Damien Marie AtHope. In the simplest terms, I am an atheist-humanist philosopher and prehistorical writer-researcher at DamienMarieAtHope.com. I am specifically an axiological atheist. An axiological atheism can be thought to involve ethical and value theory reasoned and moral argument-driven apatheism, agnosticism, atheism, antitheism, antireligionism, secularism, and humanism. Axiological atheists can be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. As an axiological atheism's ethically reasoned and constructive pro-humanity. I am an axiological thinker, value theorist. The science of goodness, worthiness, usefulness, valuableness, virtue, reliableness, accuracy, validity, morality, integrity, beneficialness, etc., etc. We axiologists have a value consciousness. And in general, we see the architecture of humanistic humanitarianism value in people that we see as dignity beings. Places and things are not. Axiology is a value theory. In its broadest sense, it involves areas of philosophy that are deemed to encompass some evaluative or evaluation aspect. Therefore, it crosses almost all domains in some way or another. Now for a more detailed terms as to what I am. I am an axiological atheist, an anti-theist, an anti-religionist, secularist, humanist, rationalist, writer, artist, poet, philosopher, advocate, activist with schooling in psychology, sociology, as well as I am an autodidact, self-taught in science, archaeology, anthropology, and philosophy. I promote science and am against pseudoscience, pseudo-history, pseudo-morality, things that are found in religion. I support realism, axiology, of course, liberty, justice, ethics. I am also an anarchist socialist. I support anarchism and socialism, progressivism, liberalism, philosophy, psychology, archaeology, and anthropology, advocating for sexual, gender, child, secular, LGBTQIA+, race, class rights, and equality. So if you can guess from all that, I support or challenge that I have an eclectic variety of videos on a variety of topics. Please take time to check them out, as well as if you enjoy them, please give them a like. And don't forget to subscribe, as new things are on their way all the time for my channel.